Hello, my name is James, and this is Top20English.com. This video is about our own program for learning your first 200 words of English. Top20English.com is a curated directory, that is a hand-selected directory, where we aggregate which we think are the best free resources on the internet for learning English as a second language. The directory begins with the first column that's for those who are just getting started in learning English as a second language. First link in this first column is for those is a directory for learning the alphabet and phonics. This is the best place to start. The second link here is our own program for learning your first 200 words of English. These are 200 of the most common words in the English language. We think that this is the best foundation for learning for those who are just beginning to learn English or getting started on learning English as a second language. The program is in 3 parts. So if you click on the second link here, the first 200 words, it'll take you to our program, which is divided into 3 parts. The first part is based on Quizlet, which is a flashcard site, and this uses images for the first 200 words. The second part is a first 200 word list where the words are listed based on the 8 different parts of speech, such as nouns and verbs. And then the third part uses these first 200 words in sentences. By using the first 200 words in sentences, one begins to pick up some of the grammar and the structure of the English language. I would suggest beginning with these 200 words which will be placed in sentences. So we'll go to that site, and you'll see that we've placed these into small groups such that they can be copied and put into Google Translate and matched up with 103 different languages. So as an example is to go to the part on greetings, and we'll click on this group of sentences here. And these are now in Google. We've already placed these in Google Translate for you. The default language here is Spanish, but you can go to this index over here under this arrow and choose one of 103 different languages to match up with the sentences. Then if you come over to the sentences on the left-hand column in English, if you double-click on this audio, if you double-click on that.
My name is Isabella. What is your name? I live in Spain. Where do you live? How are you? I'm okay. Goodbye. It was nice to meet you. Have a good day. Do you speak English? No, I do not speak English very well.
So by double-clicking on that audio, you'll slow down the translation somewhat, and so it can be better understood. Now let's look at another part of the program, which is a link to our Quizlet page. Here we match the first 200 words with images. And you can see here that Quizlet is a flashcard site, but we're not using it at the flashcard site, so don't click on the flashcards because that will place these words in random order, which isn't very useful. We're just going to use this list of 200 words in the order in which they're presented here. And you can see that we begin with pronouns, I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. And also, we've placed these in sentences such that the first 3 words are I am happy. And here's I, and here's am and happy here. For example, if you click on happy, you will get the pronunciation of the word. Here's the image for happy. And we place these in sentences, and we go on to the next sentence, which is you are nice, with the 3 words you are and nice. Here's nice. And then we have he is tired. Here's tired. And then we place these sentences here such that they can be
I am happy.
So that you can get the pronunciation of the sentences. Now these are the same sentences that we just used in our page on sentences, such that these 2 sites are meant to be used together. This particular site on Quizlet page matches these 200 words with images. And then the site, and then the part of the program based on sentences translates these same sentences into 103 different languages. So by combining the 2, we're using images and translations such that very little English is needed other than some very simple instructions. Now, the third part of this program, in the third part of this program, we place these same 200 words in sentences, and then these sentences are broken down into 8 parts of English. So next, let's go and look at this part of the program based on listing the words by parts of speech. Now let's look at the third part of this program, which uses these same 200 words and places them in a list, but breaks that list down into the 8 parts of speech. So this is the third part of the program, and you can see that we've broken the list down into nouns and verbs and then the other parts of speech. And under in this list, if you click on a word like yesterday, it'll take you to the Merriam-Webster dictionary. And here you can click on the audio to hear the word pronounced. And it'll also give you the definition in English. Now, of course, if you're a beginning student, you may not know any English at all, and thus the definition in English is not very useful. And that's why we use both the images and the translations in our program, such that very little English is needed to learn to follow the program. Now, going back to the list, you can see that this list is also broken down into small groups, which we list up here under translation. And you can click on one of the groups, and we'll again put this into Google Translate with the default value being here done in Spanish. But again, you can come over here to this small arrow here and click on this, and you can translate this into 103 different languages. And then you, going back, you just click on the audio and it'll give you the audio translation as well. So the other thing this is useful for is if you go to one of these groups, you can print this out, and it makes a pretty good flashcard because you can print this out and then fold it over if you'd like, and or not, but it still makes a good flashcard, and you can print all these up and create a stack of flashcards. And then you would use what's called spaced repetition, such that you would repeat this and then once, and then maybe the following day, and then maybe on day 3, and then following that you go back and work on those particular words that are giving you difficulty. And then you refer back to this set of flashcards or back to this website to continue to do some spaced repetition and continue to work on those words that are giving you difficulty. So when you go back to the website now, you can see that as we go down the page, we go from nouns, and then we do the other parts of speech, which include pronouns. When we come down to verbs, we break this down. We also include the tenses. This is very useful for the irregular verbs, and we put the irregular verbs in red, which is helpful as well. Then, if we go up to the top and go back to the English blog, which should bring us back to the English blog page. You can see that now we have the 3 parts of the program, beginning with Quizlet, which does the first 200 words with images. We just went through the first 200 word list, which breaks it down into parts of speech. And then the third part, or the other part of this program, is the first 200 words, which we have in sentences. And those are 3 parts of the program. But going down further on this page, we use a vocabulary building part and a grammar part, and it was broken down into 8 parts of speech as well. So here under 8 parts of speech, we have, again, the nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, pronouns, prepositions, and conjunctions and interjections. And this is the same over on the right-hand side here under grammar and vocabulary, and these are the same links. So when you come down here and click on nouns, we've included English grammar and references related to nouns, and these are the sites we recommend for learning the grammar related to nouns. And then below this, we extend on this page the vocabulary list out to the 145 most common nouns that are part of the 500 most common words used in the English language. So now we've taken the list from 200 words out to 140, out to 500 words, 500 most common words used in the English language. And of these, 145 of those are nouns. So again, we have the nouns listed out in a list, but we also have the translations, where if you click on this small group, it'll go into Google Translate. And we extended this down here to the 145 most common nouns, which are used in the 500 most common words in the English language. So, why did we do this project, and why do we recommend it for beginning students? First, our concerns about global education, and everything on our website is free. There's a great need for global education out there in terms of particularly learning the English language, because learning the English language is the gateway to all the free open access information out there on the internet. We accumulate most of this information aggregated on our Top 20 Education site for all the high school topics and all the college topics, and the key to that is learning English. Secondly, we think that learning the first 200 words of English is the best way for beginning students to start their program on learning English. We recommend this because learning the first 200 words of English in the context of sentences also begins to give you some idea about the structure and the grammar of English. Third, because our program is based on images and translations, very little English is needed to do this program, except for some very minor instructions. So a self-motivated student can do this pretty much on their own. And finally, the program is adaptable to 103 different languages, rather than just a few of the most common languages. By using Google Translate, the program is adaptable to 103 different languages. And because we have a global perspective, and the program is free, we have over 300,000 likes on our Facebook site for Top 20 English, and we invite you to join us on Facebook at Top 20 English. So we hope that this program is helpful to both teachers and students, and we thank you for listening. We'd like to give it a try.